Hi, welcome to Environmental Science. I'm Sue Glenn, and you have chosen to take an online class that is a science lab class. So you got a lot of work ahead of you. I don't want to take up a lot of your time. Just give you a quick overview of how the course works. Before you start working on the course material, take a little bit of time, go through this folder called How This Online Course Works. Read the syllabus like you would in a normal class. It has the grade scale on there. How the grade system works is a point system. So everything you do gets points. They're just added up at the end to determine what your grade is. Also print out the list of assignments and due dates. Go ahead, put those in your calendar. That way you will remember when things are due, because deadlines come up fast and things get in the way. So make sure you've got everything on your calendar. Everything on a due date is due at 4 p.m. that day, and then the module closes. So if you're working during the day, you might want to set your due dates on your calendar for the night before, and that way you make sure you're not missing anything. Try not to leave things to the last minute, because there's a lot of work to do and things can go wrong, and you might not be able to get help in time before you hit that deadline. And also make sure that you do the pre-course survey just to reinforce some of the ideas. So when we go into the course, you can see that there's usually a little announcement, and there's an announcements folder. So click on the announcements folder so that you're able to see if there's anything new or anything that's been fixed or changed or a deadline extended. Also, check your email. I regularly send announcements out to your RCSJ email. So every couple of days, log into that and make sure that you're keeping up and you're not getting behind. So the folder, How This Online Course Works, you can find right here on the home page. Also, the menu on the left is very easy to navigate through the course, so that you can find a link to the How This Online Course Works page right here. When you open that up, you can see there's a copy of the syllabus. There's a copy of the list of assignments with their due dates right there. I would print that off, and that way you can keep track of things, and the video for how the course works. And then you can see there's a survey on the course structure, and then the introductory folder. So the next stop is to go to the introduction folder. The introduction folder has a link to your ebook. So half your course is in your ebook and half of your course is in e-learning, but it's all linked within the same course. There's a link to the Habitable Planet website that we use. There's a link to videos on how to use e-learning, how to check your grades, how to use the discussion board, how to submit assignments. So if you're confused about how to do something in e-learning, check out those videos. They're really nicely done. There's a link to a tutorial on your ebook about how to do the first virtual lab, a link on how to use your ebook. So as you're using your ebook, it'll be asking you practice questions as you go along, and that way you can be given points for actually reading your book. And also there's a link to a page on the website that lists the dates that e-learning is not going to be available as they do maintenance, and that might be really useful if you've got several classes that you're trying to keep track of. The first module is on Many Planets, One Earth, about the uniqueness of our planet. There are a couple of chapters in the ebook that you're going to read and do a chapter quiz on. There's assignments in the ebook. You're also doing a little simulation lab, and there's a little quiz on that. And then in e-learning, you'll also find that there is a film. So when I'm in the course and I'm on the home page of the course, I can find the modules on the left menu, or I can scroll down to the modules. The first module, Many Planets, One Earth. When I open it up, there's always at the beginning of the module, there's a little card that explains to you how the module's working, what all the things are, so that you don't lose track. And then I've got the things listed here, so there's a link to everything in the module. You don't have to hunt around and forget to go to the ebook. You can find everything right here in the module. So I put them in the order that it makes sense, but you can obviously skip around. It might be that you have some time to sit and watch a film, so you start off and you click on the film, watch that. If you're watching a film, I'd recommend you print out the questions as you're watching it. You can fill them in and then type them into a Word document and submit that for the assignment. So everything is found in one place. When you're in your ebook, and you're in the first module, your ebook will look like this, and you can open up the first module and you find the items in there that you're looking for. And if I'm reading the first chapter, I click on it, begin it. Just going to take a second here, and it tells me the due dates. It tells me approximately how long it thinks it's going to take me to read this chapter, and you can go ahead and start reading. You can come and go from reading the chapters. The only things you can't come and go from are quizzes and tests. So if once you start a quiz or a test, then you basically cannot leave it and come back into it. It'll auto submit if you leave it. So if I start with reading, it'll pull up my book and I can start reading it. But there's also practice questions, and you can go to the practice questions, and the practice questions will see if you've actually understood the concepts. So in this particular one, you can fill in the blank question, and then you will rate how confident you are after you've filled in the question. And then if you want to, you can go back to that part of the book and you can continue reading. So once you've successfully answered all of the practice questions, then it'll give you points for the chapter. And if you've linked your chapter, your textbook up to your e-learning, it'll automatically pass those assignments through. If you're wondering how to link your book up, you need to go to the link for the textbook. So I've got one on the left, your textbook website, and you'll have something right here for linking up under the word McGraw-Hill Connect. You'll have something to pair up your textbook. I've already paired mine, so I can't show you exactly how that works, but that'll take you to the textbook website. The second module is on the atmosphere and air pollution. You've got a chapter in the ebook, chapter 16. It also has an ebook assignment about air pollution, and you've got the chapter quiz. So when you're reading the chapters, you've got those practice questions, but there's also a quiz on the chapter as well, which is like a little test. Then there's a film, a really cool film about the atmosphere, where you can see them doing some of the sky surfing, and then a discussion board assignment where you're actually going to do some research on the air quality in your area, and you're going to be posting your results on that. Discussion board assignments are actually due when the module ends, but then I leave them open for the rest of the course so that you're able to read other people's assignments and you're able to comment on them to get full points. There's also an optional lab assignment in this particular module, which can get you some extra points. The climate change module, this is an important module. This is chapter 15 in your textbook. There is the ebook readings, the assignment in the ebook. There's a chapter quiz. There's several films in e-learning, and a really cool assignment where you can look at sea level rising and in different places around the world. There's also a very important assignment where you actually analyze data on climate change. So you make some predictions and you do some data analysis and look at how the climate is actually changing. There's also an additional film assignment that is optional. So if you love watching films and documentaries, this one might be a good optional assignment for you. The course works on a point system, so any of these optional assignments just add points. So it's just an opportunity for you to get some additional points, which is very handy if you've missed something along the way. And that's why you have a complete list of the assignments and their due dates and their point values, so you'll know what is optional and where you might be able to add some things if you've missed something. The energy module, that is a really big module. There's a lot of information in this one. So this one covers 2 book chapters, and I've divided this module into 3 sections. There's a section on fossil fuels, there's a section on nuclear power, and a section on sustainable energy. So each of these sections have readings and assignments, so there's a lot to do in the energy module. So make sure you take some time and set it aside for that particular module. There's films, there's articles that you're going to be reviewing, there's assignments, there's simulations, and there are some optional assignments in there. So if you're trying to find some extra points, this is a good place to look to do some additional assignments. The module 6 is on water, so it's on oceans and water resources. So it's a couple of chapters. There's ebook assignments about how we deal with water pollution and how we deal with the oceans. There's an e-learning assignment on your actual water use. There's a film in e-learning, and then there's another film that is on water pollution that is an optional film for you to do the worksheet. The waste module has a couple of sections from chapter 8 and then chapter 21 and a quiz on e-learning or in the ebook. There's some ebook assignments there, but then also on e-learning there's several videos and assignments there as well. So there's quite a bit of, there's several smaller things to do, but there's quite a few of them in the waste module. The final module is one on sustainability. You're dealing with 2 chapters in your ebook. You're looking at the ebook assignments and e-learning assignments as well as videos. There is a couple of discussion board assignments here where you're actually calculating your ecological footprint, and you're also calculating ecological footprints of different countries. So you can see how we're using resources in a way that's impacting the environment. And there's films in e-learning as well. So overall, with the grading, there are optional assignments. There's the final exam, which is optional as well. They just add additional points. So everything's worth points. We add up all the points as we go. There are no calculations, no percentages, and that way, as you do things, you can just do some extra things and get some extra points. And that way, when you are all done, you compare your points to the number of points required to get certain grades, and you can see what your grade's going to be. The discussion board assignments are not going to be graded until the course is done, and that gives time for people to read and respond to other people's posts on the discussion board. If you need any help anywhere along the way, just email me. My name's Susan Glenn. My email is sglenn@rcsj.edu. Also, don't forget to check your email in case I replied to you, and that way you can get the answer to your particular question. So take some time now, go to this, how this online course works, go over the material in there. Take some time, read over the syllabus. You may want to print off a copy of that so that you have your syllabus available to you. You can see how the point system works on there and how many points it's going to take to get the particular grades. Print off the list of assignments and due dates. Every assignment tells you how many points it's going to be worth and when it's due, and that way you're not going to fall behind. Put those dates into your calendar. It also includes at the bottom of that the grading scale as well. I've also made it so that you can put your grades in the last column as you go along, or you can check off that you've done things, and that way you can keep track of things as you go. Also in e-learning, there is a grade book, and in the grade book, just click in here to take a look at that. You can see every assignment in the course listed, how many points it's worth as it's graded. The points will be listed in the grade book. It will also put a little symbol here if I've made some comments on your assignments. Take a look at the early assignments that I'm commenting on, because if you're making some mistakes, you want to make sure you're not repeating those mistakes on all your subsequent assignments. The biggest mistake is people rushing through the assignments, not giving me enough information. So make sure you're not cutting and pasting off of websites. Make sure that you are rereading your answers. The best thing is to type them out in a Word document, and that way you can spell check, you can make sure it makes sense, and then you can attach that Word document to the assignment. The only place I will ask you not to attach Word documents to the assignments is when you're doing the discussion board assignments, because other people are going to be reading them. If you just attach a document, they have to download the document, open it up to read it, and they're just not going to bother. So actually cut and paste from your Word document into the discussion board, and that way you're able to let them see it right away, and it's a courtesy for other students. So it's time to dive into the course, and you've got lots of work ahead of you. Don't forget, contact me if you have any problems or questions, and I'll see you online.